great clock. Big Ben is a nickname for the bell. The bell that strikes the hour is what we call Big Ben. And the Parliament building, it was opened by Queen Victoria, 1852. And away to our left, the building with the 4 green roof sections, the Ministry of Defence. And that is the headquarters for the Army, the Navy and the RAF. The next building, the Gothic style building, Whitehall Court Mansions. And that is a hotel today, the Royal Horse Guards Hotel. And a bridge, a railway, the station on the left in the West End, Charing Cross. That modern glass building, that is the office for Price Waterhouse Cooper, the Chartered Accountants. So that's their office over the railway station in the West End. And either side of this railway, there were footbridges, the Golden Jubilee Walkways. They were both opened to celebrate the Queen's 50th year on the throne, 9 years ago. We recommend that you wave to people on the footbridge. It keeps their hands busy, keeps them happy, that's it. Stops them throwing or even spitting on the boat. So it doesn't always work, but we like to wave, okay? Try and keep them happy. A very noisy bridge, as you can hear. That is why the building away to the right is completely soundproof. The Royal Festival Hall. There's some very famous people that performed over there. Shirley Bassey, Andy Williams, Frank Sinatra. They've all performed in a concert hall. And with your cameras on the river wall to your left, the stone column, Cleopatra's Needle, over 3,000 years old. Carved in Egypt, they're made in pairs. The other one, it's in America, Central Park, New York City. Another hotel on the left, it's got a green tiled roof, the London Savoy Hotel. Very expensive in the Savoy. The most expensive room is on the top floor beneath the flagpole, the Royal Suite, £10,000 per night. So that's the London Savoy. This is Waterloo Bridge, but we call it on the river the Ladies' Bridge. It was built by ladies in the Second World War. All of the men that was away fighting for their king and their country, the ladies built the bridge. You may notice how clean the outside is compared to beneath. It's a self-cleaning Portland stone. Every time it rains, the outside will get a wash. So very dirty beneath the bridge. Away to our left and behind the trees, Somerset House. They built it in the 1700s. That is where they used to keep certificates for all of the births, the deaths and the marriages going on throughout Great Britain. So that was all kept inside the building years ago. It got itself a nickname within the civil service as the Hatcham, Matcham and Dispatcham department. You could now add Catcham. It's been taken over by the Inland Revenue. Those lovely people, say the old taxman. That's where they work, just over there. Do we have anybody on the boat from England today? 3 of us. Well, look on the right, the tall office building, that is the head studios for LWT. That's where they do the filming for the X Factor, the Pop Idol, Britain's Got Talent. So it's all filmed on the right. If you follow the trees along, just above the sandy beach, you'll see a white building with the blacked out windows. This is where they film Phil and Holly, the morning chat show. They also film the news and the weather from this building, and it's all filmed live onto this part of the Thames. Now, we've been on telly before a couple of times. My mum's phoned me and said she's seen me, so I always wave and smile, so you never know. We might all be on telly. So it looked like you're enjoying yourself. Of course, if you're with someone you shouldn't be with, look the other way. or duck. So you can't be too careful. So it's all filmed over there, live, onto this part of Thames. Now if you came up the river earlier at high water, you wouldn't have seen that sandy beach. It's that the tide is dropping, the sand is appearing, showing us how clean the river is becoming. There's a lot of life and a lot of fish back in the Thames. So a very clean river today. And on the right, the Oxo building. I doubt many of you have heard of Oxo before, but it's a famous gravy. A little stock cube in this country. So you add boiling water to it, makes a lovely bit of gravy. They made it inside the building years ago. It's all now apartments, but on the roof there's a restaurant, Harvey Nichols. So very expensive, Harvey Nicks. That's on the top floor. And away to our left we have a building with a sloping roof and a black spire. The old City of London School for Boys. Some very successful and clever people have attended that school. And to name a few people to you, Lord Asquith, Lloyd George, Sir Winston Churchill and myself. Although not a school today, an American bank, JP Morgan, a very wealthy American bank. And the bridges ahead of us are Victorian. They're called the Blackfriars, all three of them. The first one, the traffic bridge. If you look at the second bridge, we don't go beneath it. The red columns are the old supports to a steam railway. A lot of steam trains from Chatham and Dover used to cross the river at this point. It became unsafe a long time ago. They took the top half away. But they're going to use the columns again. They are now cutting down the columns. They're going to re-strengthen them. They're now going to widen the third bridge, which is a railway. And it should be finished in time for the Olympics next year. So a lot of work taking place at Blackfriars. And we're roughly halfway to Tower Pier. So is this okay for everyone? How am I doing? Can you all understand me okay? Very good, okay. Now we'll go to the right. We have a building with a tall chimney, a power station years ago. It's an art gallery today, the Tate Modern. And it is full up with modern art. It's the largest in the world and it's free to enter. So it doesn't cost a penny. And once you've entered the building and you've had a good look around, you'll then start to realise why it's free. So if you do like modern art, it might be worth a visit. You can also see the same stuff on display where I live. We've also got burnt out cars, piles of bricks, piles of tyres. Honestly, that's the sort of stuff that's on display. Their proper art is to your left at St Paul's Cathedral. It took 35 years to build. From ground level to the tip of that golden cross, 365 feet high. 1 foot for every day of the year. So a marvellous building there, St Paul's. And the new footbridge here that was built for the year 2000, the Millennium Footbridge. As you go through the bridge, look to the right, you'll see the replica of William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. It was opened by the Queen about 12 years ago. It's identical to the original. From April through to September, they reenact all of those famous plays every single day. There's no electricity inside the Globe. There's no lighting or speakers. It's all done in the traditional way, how they used to do it all those centuries ago. It's an open roof as well, so if it does start to rain, you're going to get wet, as you're not allowed umbrellas in the Globe. The seating in there's over 2,000 people when a performance takes place. So it's very cramped, very tight, so you're not allowed umbrellas in the Globe. And all of the area to the right, most of it has been redeveloped, bankside. But in the Elizabethan days, the entertainment area, you had all the theatres on the right, the crawl sports, you had dog fighting, bear baiting, bare knuckle boxing, the gambling dens. the houses of horizontal happiness, so all that sort of stuff. So the red light districts. As I mentioned, a lot of it has been redeveloped. Look, the FT building, Financial Times, that's their headquarters, that newspaper. There's a lovely pub on the right, the Anchor Tavern, over 300 years old. Just behind the pub, the other side of it, the Borough Market. And that will be on today and tomorrow. And it's famous for the flowers and the food. A very nice market over there, the Borough. And the railway bridge is Cannon Street. And as you go through the railway to the right, warehouses. These are flats and apartments today, so people live over there. But years ago, cargo would have been stored in the buildings, working warehouses years ago. So converted into apartments about 20 years ago. We've got you in nice and close. So we've got another pub, the old Thames Side Inn, and then there's a pirate ship. And that is the working replica of the Golden Hind, made famous by Sir Francis Drake. He was the first Englishman to have sailed a ship around the world in 1577. Just look how small it is. Drake had a crew of 60 cutthroat sailors. 60 men on a ship as small as that for 3 years. And the bridge ahead of us, London Bridge. This is the 5th crossing on this part of the river in 2,000 years. When the Romans came to London, this is where they built a wooden bridge. This new bridge, it was opened 1973. So it's quite a new bridge. The name of it to your left, London Bridge. I'm sure some of you know that the one before this, it was taken down in the 70s. It started to sink into the mud. We was going to store it somewhere, but an American bought it for $2 million. It was shipped over to America. It's in the Arizona desert today, the lower Colorado River, Lake Havasu. Has anyone ever seen that bridge before? One person. Here we are. Yeah, it's definitely out there. So we sold it in the 70s. It's out in the desert in America. And away to our left, the blue glass building, the headquarters for the HSBC, one of the richest banks in the world. It was the first glass building to be built in the Thames in the early 80s. Designed by an Italian. And he was a very, very clever, unemployed window cleaner called Luigi the Squeegee. It's my best joke though. I'm just seeing who's listening.